Governor, nice to see you, sir.
Hi, Greta.
Governor, if you could get any message from your experience as being a governor of Indiana to Governor Romney in terms of handling the economy, what's the single message that you want to make sure he hears?
Trust the American people, level with them about the facts, explain that we're going to have to make some changes, and it's all in the interest of low-income people, of young people, of people trying to climb the ladder of success. They're the folks who will be penalized if we keep drifting toward Niagara Falls on the current track. So couch everything in terms of their future and take the message to young people and to middle America at every opportunity.
Governor Romney today, Governor, talks about the sharper spending cuts, and President Obama talks more about issues like fairness, very different. But in both speeches and in both economic policies, the one thing I don't hear is actually something that you brought up when you first became governor. On the first day you became governor, you created Indiana's first Office of Management and Budget, which looked at inefficiencies and cost savings throughout your government, through the state government. Do you see either candidate focusing in on efficiencies and waste in either one of their economic policies or speeches?
Oh, I think they both talk about it, and it does deserve a close look. I will say, Greta, that perhaps a big difference between the federal and state levels is that although waste is rampant, we all know that, and there's an awful lot of government we should wring out, and no one would miss it. The federal overspending is overwhelmingly in the safety net or entitlement programs. We've got to address them. The most effective, if you took our team of fraud fighters and spending cutters from Indiana, which is, I think, the best in America with a record to prove it, but if you turned our folks loose in the federal government, you still wouldn't get at the big bucks until you looked at the entitlements and on the other side of the equation, much faster economic growth.
All right, you've actually worked in the federal side of this as well. I'm curious, what is it that we could do with those entitlements? I realize it's a vast topic and probably is worthy of 10 hours of discussion. But is there something that could at least jumpstart us so that we'd feel good about ourselves, we get a big jump on the economy, and get a grip on what's happening to our growing debt?
It could take 10 hours, but I think I can name that tune in well under a minute, Greta. First of all, if we would even begin to address it, it would make a dramatic positive difference for jobs and growth in this country. If the world, which really wants to keep financing the United States, they don't have a better alternative. If the world even saw us start down the path of reconciling our long-term commitments and our means, they would reward that with, I think, new investment and lower interest rates on a long-term basis. And how to do it? A lot of ways. My suggestion is, first of all, means test the programs, concentrate the money on low-income people who really need it. Secondly, we should clearly stop over-indexing the programs, protect people against the cost of living, but not necessarily more, and raise the retirement age very gradually to something that lines up with today's actuarial realities. All those things only to start in a few years. You say to people in the program today, you're good to go, nothing's going to change for you, but help us make sure that younger people have something waiting for them too.
All right. In terms of cutting entitlements, that's always oftentimes, the lower income. I'm talking about Social Security, which people don't call entitlements. Law, they say they paid into it, they deserve it. But entitlements for the very poor who might be really discouraged or don't have jobs, no future opportunity. Do you see a necessity to focus on them as well to rev up the economy? And how would you get them inspired and going and having opportunity?
We should go to a full-throated growth policy in this country, specifically in the interest of those who are jobless or underemployed today, and those young people coming up, that enormous number of young people coming out of college even without a job, so many of them living at home. And that means things like lower, flatter tax rates. Every economist I know across the spectrum agrees that taking out so many of the preferences and special exceptions in the bookshelves of tax code we have would would be positive for growth and jobs. Absolutely maximizing this great new energy opportunity which American ingenuity has created for us. I'm talking about natural gas and oil sands and all the new means of extraction. We can be the energy producer for the world after a couple generations when we were sending billions of hard-earned dollars overseas to meet our energy needs.
All right. I know that you're a big supporter of Governor Romney, of course, and he's a fellow Republican, but I'm curious, what is your deepest criticism of President Obama's economic policy? Where in your mind does it fail, or is it on the wrong track?
It would be a lot shorter answer if I told you anything I thought they'd done right. They have been regulation crazy. They have piled cost after cost, delay after delay, in the path of those who would hire Americans. They have been for more taxes and the threat of more taxes on a recurring basis, and then as if that wasn't enough to stop economic growth, they have chosen to be sadly divisive, castigating individual businesses, business sectors, even individuals by name. And so they have had as pure an anti-growth economic policy as one could imagine, and no one should be surprised that the economy has responded as it has, that businesses are scared to death to risk any of the money that they have in their treasuries.
One last question about the race the other day in Indiana. I know that you were chief of staff way back when for Senator Lugar. He lost to a man who's supported by the Tea Party. What do you make of the Tea Party movement in the country right now?
Oh, it's a factor, and it was a factor here in our state. But in this contest, very honestly, the winner, Richard Murdoch, started with 2/3 of the regular Republican county chairman for him and added to that number as he went along. So this was a test between two good friends of mine, two good allies, two really good people. But it would be a complete misunderstanding to label this a Tea Party phenomenon when, in fact, the winner had rolled up a very strong majority with rank-and-file Republicans who felt they knew him, had seen a lot of him. He's been elected twice statewide in just the last 6 years, so he's a Republican regular himself, and that was the decisive factor.
All right, I know I said last question, but I'm curious about this. Subaru just announcing a bunch of new jobs in your state, and I'm curious. I realize the state is different than the national, but is there some sort of formula or encouragement, or was it, on a national level? How do you get Subaru to do that in your state? They could have gone any place. What's so great about Indiana to do this?
Yeah, well, I'll be riding my motorcycle up there to help them celebrate tomorrow morning. And not for the first time. No, it's pretty simple. In all the major rankings of best states to do business, Indiana has come rocketing up the list into the top 5. And we're the only state not in the Sun Belt anywhere in the top 10 or 20. And that's what happens when you commit yourself completely to jobs and economic opportunity. So we have lowered taxes. We have kept spending down. We have a AAA credit rating. So businesses know that taxes aren't going back up. We have the lowest property taxes in America. We have a regulatory approach which has high standards but is quick and consistent and collaborative, not punitive. We don't talk about crucifying anybody out here as this guy at the EPA just did. We have built the best infrastructure in the country. And if you do that, then people notice and people have a good experience when they invest. And like Subaru, they come back and invest again.
Governor, thank you. And I always think we should look to see what works and try to sort of maybe try to copy that stuff. So maybe you'll get other states copying you on that.
Then come see us in Indiana and we'll show you.
All right. Thank you, Governor.